Each passing day of the Echelon Racing League gets us closer to the real thing, racing in summer. Yesterday we were in Tulsa, and today we head to another staple on the U.S. criterium racing calendar. It is the Intelligentsia Cup. Today we head to the suburb of Glen Ellen to race a rider favorite course around Lake Ellen, one of the most unique courses of the summer, and certainly the most unique of the Intelligentsia Cup. It doesn't get any better than this. It's virtual summer in the Echelon Racing League. Welcome to the 2022 Virtual Intelligentsia Cup. Lauren, I can feel the sun coming in from my window right now with a little bit of snow falling outside here in Pittsburgh, but it really does feel like we're getting closer and closer to summer with each of these stages at the Intelligentsia Cup.
I love that you said it's virtual summer. Yeah, there's no doubt. And Intelligentsia, one of the races that I was unfortunately never able to do, but this looks like a beautiful day. And I love bike racing, so and I love summertime. So looking forward to today.
You're going to get a great taste of it today. Let's talk about yesterday very quickly before we move into today. We were at the virtual Tulsa Tough yesterday. Crybaby Hill, the legendary course. The riders doing multiple times up the hill, but in the end it came down to these two, Jackie Godby and Rhea Mobbs. Godby has been the queen of the Echelon Racing League, and it looked yesterday like she might finally have some challenge, but Mobbs getting dropped in the last just about 50 meters. Jackie Godby surges to the line. Almost undefeated in the Echelon Racing League. She is by far one of the top virtual racers in the world, and she'll be back today for the Virtual Intelligentsia Cup.
One of the biggest characteristics of this Tulsa Tough race is Crybaby Hill. Can you talk to me a little bit about that hill?
So, I was reading the history on it last night. I love it. You know, I really love the bike culture. I love the fact that we've brought that into virtual racing. And knowing that it was called Crybaby Hill, each one of those 25 times I went up, I was just thinking to myself, don't cry, don't cry. That sweat on your face, not tears. And just knowing that history helped me be a little bit mentally tougher, getting into the scene, getting into that mindset today. So that was a lot of fun.
Coming off of a couple weekends ago with the last race, there was a long hill, but it was more consistent. This one is in a crit format. Did that change your strategy at all with approaching the climbing portion of the race?
So, when I'm going into a long hill, if it's going to be, that 8-minute, that 15-minute hill, I'm going to be racing myself. I know that I can't burn matches early. If you're 90 seconds in to that 15-minute hill and you go too hard, you're paying for it for the next 13 and a half minutes. But today, when you get that crit style, when you get to go again and again and again, and make mistakes, you get the opportunity to race not just yourself, but also the course, today specifically the infamous Crybaby Hill, as you mentioned earlier, but you also get to trade off with your competitors. So today, Mobbs and I were going back and forth, trying to lose each other the hill both times, trying different strategies, really gauging the other person out of the corner of their eye and saying, I'm tired. If I take a break on this hill, are you going to take a break with me? Are we going to cooperate? Are you going to try to drop me? So, these shorter crit formats really add a lot more, I want to say, interpersonal strategy than some of those longer hills.
Well, Godby and Mobbs will be back at it today. You saw Godby in her XXX Racing Athletico jersey. This will be a special one for her because, we're just north of Chicago, the XXX Racing team based in Chicago. So a bit of a home race for Jackie Godby. No longer in Chicago. She's in Riverside, California now, but it'll be very fun to see the XXX Racing jersey out there as well. By the way, our overall series winner here in the Echelon Racing League, Jackie Godby, currently leading the series with 1,200 points. Aaron Ayala up into second place overall for the Velocity Vixen team, and then Dylan Baker sitting in third place overall from Project Echelon Racing with 905 points. Godby has a pretty comfortable lead in the overall with just a couple weeks left here in the Echelon Racing League, so she is looking better and better for the overall. Of course, the overall winner in the Echelon Racing League will receive the infamous Echelon Racing League NFT, minted by RGT and the Echelon Racing League. So looking more and more like Jackie Godby going to have a new NFT to add to her collection at the end of the season this year. Both our women's and men's winners will be receiving the Echelon NFTs. Our women's winner here at today's Intelligentsia Cup stage will also receive a custom Intelligentsia Cup jersey from Bora Custom Teamwear, the official apparel provider of the Intelligentsia Cup. The winners got this a few years ago. I still have my hat and buff. It's one of my favorite pieces of cycling apparel, and we're going to be giving our women's winner one of our Intelligentsia Cup jerseys for our two winners. By the way, speaking of Intelligentsia coffee, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't point out some of the nutrition needs for our riders in the Echelon Racing League. Hugely important for the riders to make sure that they're fueled up, and Jackie Godby is probably better than anyone and what she needs. She is out of debt, Lawrence, forever to grace our screens.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we have seen every one of our competitors throw everything at her, and just she just keeps coming back week after week, winning, and just super excited just to have the competition. So you see her taking off the beanie cap. Maybe that, again, it must be pretty chilly in the pain cave. Yeah, I just really enjoy watching Jacqueline, race her bike. It's great.
A big question today for Jackie is this course good enough on the hills, or is Rhea Mobbs going to be able to use the sort of undulating part of this course to her advantage? We always talk about Godby on the climbs. She's much better on the long, sustained climbs, not as good on the short, punchy climbs. That's mostly what makes up the course today. As you see our course here in Glen Ellen, we're actually racing around Lake Ellen, which is just a little bit north of the city. This is by far, Lauren, one of the most beautiful courses that you will race on in the United States. It is absolutely gorgeous. Racing around the neighborhood, you talk about racing around the lake, and a lot of ups and downs out there as well. It looks relatively flat when you look at it on a map like this, but once you get out there on the course, you're really going up and down a lot out there.
Yeah, and again, going back to Godby's interview, and she's talking about racing the course yesterday. So today it'll be a little bit different. She can focus more on her effort and not necessarily the course. So yeah, this is a good rolling course like we've mentioned in the past. So I'm excited to see, probably watch Godby just totally roll away. I'm not going to lie. Let's just call it like it is.
Well, and then yesterday we talked about the importance of nutrition. This was Kevin Bouchard-Hall drinking his Intelligentsia coffee mid-race. I thought this was way too cool to pass up. I thought I was very impressed with Kevin's pouring ability. So we're going to make sure that we're topped up with our Intelligentsia for sorry about that. You see Kevin Bouchard-Hall pouring his coffee, and then Jackie Godby with her SIS.
And then Godby.
So you see Jackie Godby's SIS nutrition. Or, well, that was for the tour of the Gila, and we'll see what she does today, eating her SIS. All right, we got a special welcome before we get started because we're just about 2 minutes away from race start. So let's get ready for our official welcome.
I just want to say welcome to everyone who's joining us. I mean, we're thrilled to be a part of this unique and innovative effort to grow the sport of cycling, particularly in the Glen Ellen area. Many of our residents are cycling enthusiasts, be it competitive or casual, and the Echelon Racing League will give them a chance to participate with others who share that passion for cycling. You know, apart from being fun, cycling in all its forms promotes community health and economic development, and we're very excited to be part of this process. You know, Glen Ellen is a community that is very diverse in terms of both its residents as well as in its geography. And what makes it unique within the DuPage County area is that it has a lot of changes in the topography, particularly on the course that the races run on. You know, it runs sort of a circuit around Lake Ellen. So in the center of the course is always one of the more beautiful iconic symbols of our village, which is Lake Ellen. But the course itself includes a lot of changes in elevation. It has a lot of different challenges to it in terms of the turns and the straightaways. And so I think for both amateur as well as professional, it provides a really unique challenge. But it isn't so daunting that an amateur cyclist really couldn't benefit or enjoy participating in the race.
And meanwhile, pro women just rolling off the line just a couple seconds ago. So front of our field off and rolling, and of course being led by Jackie Godby. No surprise there. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that throughout the day today. Godby is by far the dominant rider here in the Echelon Racing League. So we'll keep an eye on the front of this group, wait for the breakaway. In the meantime, want to bring in our race director of the Intelligentsia Cup, the in real life Intelligentsia Cup, who's joining us from Tucson, Arizona. Marco Colbert, who's with us in real life. Marco, thanks for being us in the virtual world. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks very much. Hello, everyone. I am the race director of the Intelligentsia Cup in Chicago, and welcome to the Echelon Racing League virtual races. On behalf of my business partner, Tom Schuler, and I, we hope to see you at the Intelligentsia Cup in July. Our dates are July 22nd through the 31st, and we're going to have 10 consecutive days of racing this year. Since I am in Tucson, I'll mention also that we're also looking forward to seeing some of you at the Tucson Bicycle Classic stage race. The event is coming back to life after 2 years off, and the dates will be March 4th through 6th, 2022 in sunny Tucson. And just finally, I'll mention I was at the Mercado yesterday having lunch, hanging out with about 100 other cyclists, and there was a couple, three riders from Project Echelon, so maybe they're racing virtually today. Thanks, Brad.
Sorry about that, Marco. I know riders are excited. You talked about riders training up in Tucson. You guys have your dates ready for 2022 for Intelligentsia?
For Intelligentsia, the dates are July 22nd through 31st.
All right, perfect. Get a little training in Tucson, race the Tucson Bicycle Classic, and then we'll see you back for Intelligentsia. Marco, thanks for all that you do for cycling here in the U.S. I know it's a lot of work putting on the Intelligentsia Cup, but I hope you get to enjoy some sunshine out in Tucson today and save some for Lauren and I. We're going to need it. All right, back out to front of our group. Looks like Mobs, Godby, and Ayala splitting a little group off the front here, going 3 clear. Now, Ayala is the wild card out there today. We saw Godby and Mobs hanging with each other yesterday, but Ayala is the big question. Can she hang with this group of 2? I certainly hope so. I mean, I would love to see Erin Ayala be able to hang with this group of 3. So maybe some changes, some adjustments from yesterday, and then Ayala tries to sprint on the front today.
You're right, Brad. I would definitely like to see Ayala stay up there today. And, the difference in today versus yesterday's course is you don't go right into an intense climb. So, hopefully Ayala can kind of ride into this race a little bit easier. But, yeah, she should definitely just kind of buy her time back there and see how long she can sustain the effort with these 2 up front.
Now, the turns, the ups and downs of this course makes it much more technical. I'm not sure how that plays into Erin Ayala's riding style. She's obviously got a snap. She can obviously accelerate, but when you're doing it multiple times around this undulating course around the lake, it certainly takes its toll. So we'll be keeping our eye on Ayala. She's in the red zone right now. It seems like she's going pretty deep to cover this move and just try and stay on the wheels. Maybe just some early race sort of settling down, just trying to figure out what that rhythm is going to be and what kind of wattage they're going to be looking at.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably exactly what it is. Just kind of riding into this race and getting a couple of laps under your belt and kind of getting a feel for, the file and the profile and how to ride this course and to stay on the wheels of Mobs and Godby. I want to go back to Marco talking about Tucson Bicycle Classic. I was just in Tucson, and I don't know if you've ever been down there, Brad, but it is heaven on earth to ride your bike down there, and I absolutely love it. It's 70 degrees down there right now. It hardly ever rains. I love Tucson Bicycle Classic. We would always use that as an early season race. and it falls right behind Valley of the Sun in Phoenix. And so there's actually a couple of good race weekends that teams can get in early. Yeah, like, and I'm glad that Marco is going to have equal race distance for the men and women. I think it's going to be 80 miles for the men and 80 miles for the women. So some good stuff coming out of Tucson, and thank you to Marco for making that happen.
Yeah, Tucson was always sort of an unofficial training base for a lot of American pros. I mean, you would spend a winter there or go do 6 or 8 weeks a training block in Tucson. A lot of riders would use that as their winter training base. Now you have the Homestretch Foundation there, where a lot of cyclists have based their winter training as well before heading off with their teams.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. Catherine Bertine is a dear friend of mine, and kind of helped start the Homestretch Foundation. And the Homestretch Foundation, we house athletes, female athletes specifically, for free, and they can train. They have to apply online, and there's a pretty significant application process. And what we look for is that they commit to at least 1 month up to 6 months. And that is to kind of create a good culture in the house. So we'll pair a beginner rider with an experienced rider. And so that I was also part of that as being the experienced roommate. And so not only do you learn just training, but off the bike situations of maybe there's contract negotiations you want to talk about, or eating habits, or sleeping, or how to properly rest. So it's a really cool program that is in its 5th or 6th year, and I know over 50 athletes have been through the house. So it's a really great program. You should check it out if you get a chance.
Seen a lot of successful athletes come through that program. It's an awesome stepping stone. Great opportunity for riders. So thanks to you for doing that, because I know you had to dedicate your time to that. So we appreciate that, Lauren.
Brad.
All right, looking at Anna Rokkanen on the front of the chase group here. This is sort of the race for 4th place on down. Those 3 going clear off the front. So I have a feeling that group of 3 probably stays away. I think that's pretty much a dream team of 3 riders up there on the front.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you can't get any better than sitting on Godby's wheel. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. So it's just how long can you stay up there and sustain the power that she can put out. So buy your time, sit up there, and enjoy the ride.
By the way, that is the Finnish jersey hanging in the background for Anna Rokkanen here. We always like to look at the international time zones. It's right around 6 p.m., a little after 6 o'clock in the evening in Finland right now.
That bike scheme, paint scheme is pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. It might be a wrap. A lot of bikes have like a vinyl wrap on them. I'm more interested in the pear drapes going on. I think those are pears.
Good eyes. I wouldn't have picked that, but yeah, I guess you're right.
Rokkanen putting in an effort up on the front of this chase group. Seems to be almost the leader of the chase here, although that group has now gone 260, 270 meters up the road. So I don't know if they're coming back.
Now, this is, again, what I've learned from being here with you is that once that break kind of goes up the road at least 160 meters, it's kind of game over for everybody else.
Godby, Mobs, and I all cooperating, certainly working together. And this is a group of 3 that 1 has the power to do it, but 2 has the smarts to figure out the drafting, the dynamics. They know how to work together as a group. They'll know how to figure out a rotation, figure out the rhythm. So that's good news for these 3, bad news for the riders back in the break. There is an art to riding in a breakaway on RGT. I mean, it's not easy to draft off a rider to stay in a group. You really have to keep your eye on the screen and understand the gameplay. You can see Mob's concentration on the screen here. When you get into these small groups, every watt matters, and the positioning in the group is important as well. And so that's where the gameplay comes in on RGT. So Mobs with her setup yesterday out of the UK.
I mean,
two
if Brad,
Americans.
if anybody can take it to Godby, it's going to be Mobbs. And it's, yesterday's race was so much fun to watch. And, Mobbs was so strong. And, did she miss time the sprint? Again, we haven't really seen her, except for that one effort yesterday, go up against Godby, just based on, her mechanical a couple weeks ago. So, again, maybe fine-tuning the game itself. And maybe she can come back a little bit smarter today. And hopefully take a shot at Godby at the finish.
I think that's what she's doing right now. Look at this. Mobbs in the red zone, leading this group of three, forcing Godby and Ayala to respond. I think Rhea Mobbs is trying to take it to Jackie Godby early here, saying, we're not going to play your game later in the race. So Mobbs trying to hit Godby in the first 10 minutes of racing here.
And someone else having to deal with that is Ayala getting dropped a little bit further back, taken off guard like that. He's like, she's probably like, come on. All I wanted to do is just sit back here for a couple more laps. Can't you give me something?
I was going to ask, is there a chance that Mobbs and Ayala try and link up? And, can they gang up on Godby in any way?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. I don't know if they can have a conversation about that, but unfortunately, but also I think that Ayala may just not have that fine-tuned strength that Mobbs and Godby had. So, they may have the understanding of let's try and attack and counterattack Godby, but unfortunately, Ayala may be on the back foot of that strategy.
Well, Mobbs certainly the aggressor early on here. Ayala just trying to cover a small 30-meter gap that opened up after that Mobbs attack. Looks like she's letting off now, though. That was most definitely a concerted effort from Mobbs. I think she was just trying to shake things out, maybe seeing how quickly Godby could respond, keeping her on her toes. And unfortunately for Mobbs, that dropped Ayala out of the group. We'll see if she gets back in. But now Godby's got to be thinking, all right, when's the next one coming? When's she going to do this again?
Well, now, Mobbs kind of just limit herself by doing that because you drop Ayala. There's no counterattack. So, again, Godby can kind of just settle in and only has to put eyes on one person now. And, she can obviously catch Mobbs. And, yeah, come at me, I would think. Godby's never turned down the competition. She really relishes in it. So, she's probably smiling, looking for it.
Looks like Ayala might be on her way back up to the group. Just has him in sight. You can see her in the red zone. Tough place to be here. The last bridge to get there, up to that last wheel. And again, you just got to stay with the group. Once you lose it, you're probably not coming back. So Ayala knows it. That's her at the bottom of your screen to the left. Rhea Mobbs up in the top left. And Jackie Godby up in the top right.
This definitely isn't an easy race. You can see Mobbs standing up and really kind of like shaking around on the bike a bit. So this is already hard racing this morning.
Yeah, they went early. This is this one playing out much different than a lot of the other races in the Echelon Racing League. So I think Mobbs is the addition that's changing things up. And now she's going on the attack again. Mobbs is absolutely coming for Jackie Godby today. This is an all-in attack from Rhea Mobbs. And look, why wait around for Jackie Godby to take you to the line, right? Well, you've watched it happen now like 14 weeks in a row where Jackie Godby is probably going to drop you in the last 400 meters. So you might as well take a gamble here, try and take something early.
You're right. You have to just kind of shake things up. You have to try everything, pull out all the aces out of the hole. I don't know. You just got to try different tactics to beat Godby because obviously taking her to the line's not working. And the longer the race goes, it seems Godby gets better and stronger and more efficient. So why not try and just keep hitting her early like this and just see if you can't shake her out a little bit and throw her off and maybe create a gap. And I don't know. You just got to try something.
This reminds me of, your time racing with United Healthcare when we had that dominant blue train, and every race would be a different strategy to try to beat United Healthcare. That was pretty much how the entire season went. It was like, all right, we tried to break a 6 yesterday. That didn't work. And so let's try a break of 8 at 2 laps to go today. And it was literally just all the teams working together to try to beat United Healthcare. They were that good. I mean, it was a dominant era of American criterium racing, but very similar to, I think, the Jackie Godby situation right now, a dominant rider in the field.
And the funny thing about the UHC years, and anytime, honestly, I was directed by Rachel Hill, I would say, is we could throw somebody up the road. Everybody thought that we were going to play the same game plan every week or weekend, but the funny thing was we also changed our game plan every single race, and we would take chances on all kinds of athletes going up the road, and because we're just like, what do you have to lose? Like, if you get brought back, okay, well, we know we have Loretta Hanson, or we've got Deanna Pinuelo to go for the sprint, or we've got 3 different climbers to choose from. Like, that was such a gift, and she always empowered us to go up the road and have that confidence. And so, yeah, again, looking at mobs, like, take that chance, take that opportunity, gain some confidence, gain some strength. Like, you have nothing to lose by going up the road.
And to be honest, no matter how it pans out, she probably ends up, it's not like she's going to blow up so bad that she goes back to 3rd or 4th or 5th position. So she can afford to take those gambles now, probably still has a good shot at 2nd. I mean, even if she does blow up and goes back, maybe races against Ayala, links up with her. But yeah, Mobs, it takes some gambles here. She already did in the first 10 minutes of racing. Things settling down just a little bit now at 15 minutes in, but got to think this is putting Jackie Godby on edge. She talked about it yesterday, kind of looking for the riders coming out the corner of her eye, keeping an eye on riders, the gameswomanship that goes into racing. But now Godby has to be thinking like, all right, what's Mob's plan here? And that kind of throws you off because now Godby is thinking about what Mobs is thinking about instead of thinking about, focusing on the ride.
Right, and like Godby was talking about, like Godby was talking about yesterday, she was kind of racing the course also while racing mobs at the same time. So today, yeah, she's totally watching mobs and mobs definitely taking it to her. This is great.
This is maybe the most unique start that we've had to the Echelon Racing League. I don't know that we've ever had anyone come out and challenge Jackie Godby like this. The prevailing wisdom seemed to be just try and hang with Godby as long as you can, but Mob's doing the opposite, trying to drop Godby as quickly as she can here.
Yeah, and she's been pretty successful in these last couple of attacks of creating some separation and catching Godby slightly off guard, but again, Godby just knows how to sew it back together. Mob's heart rate going up to 192, Brad. Holy moly.
Yeah. And then you can see she kind of lets off a little bit once she starts to get past 190. When she gets into the low 190s, it's like she's back down into the saddle.
You gotta let off. Your heart rate's about to explode.
Yeah.
Come on, you keep.
Yeah, you're about to have a heart attack.
Do it again. Hit him again.
Watching the wattage as well, you see in the upper left corner of each rider's gameplay screen. Jackie doing about 250. Mobs hovering between 200 and 250. You see Mobs has to do significantly less sitting in the draft here, Lauren.
Yeah.
She's going to attack again. I can feel it. And I think Jackie Godby can probably feel it too.
I wonder if it's some sort of like on-off effort that she's trying to do, but based on the course profile.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if she's been attacking in the same place or not. I guess that would be an interesting thing to look at to see if she's attacking, on a hill or not. These aren't really hills. I mean, you're talking about literally 3, 4, 5 second uphill efforts. You're done with it pretty quickly. So it's not a climb. It's just a elevation change, let's call it.
Right. Nothing in the profile goes to red from what it looks like. So those little risers aren't as significant as yesterday. I do wonder, how that effort yesterday is left in your legs going into today. That could be a factor. Mobs against Godby.
Yeah, Mobs is still doing the intervals from yesterday. Maybe that's it. She was just hitting it every 4 minutes out of instinct. Back to Erin Ayala in third. She is about 200 meters back from the Godby and Mobs group now, but holding off Corrent, Dorr, and Rokkanen behind her. So I think Ayala going to be fighting for third place here today, trying to stay between these two groups.
Yeah, Ayala's definitely going to want to try and salvage this third place, keep her up in the standings overall, and she may not have a shot at the NFT, but just to be on the podium overall is something to be proud of too, and she's going to want to keep that for sure.
Ayala's been so consistent in the Echelon Racing League. Again, we talk about how hard it is to have a good result every week, but it's hard enough just to get here every week. Most people have busy schedules on the weekend. Life tends to cram itself into those 2 days that you have off work, but these riders making it happen every Saturday and Sunday morning, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, this is what they want to do. They're professionals. They like to show up. They like to get that effort in, and you look at Godby and her partner, and this is something that they can do together. So yeah, it is quite the commitment, but I think it's a very supportive commitment and a healthy, if you're going to be addicted to anything, this is a good addiction to have.
This group keeping the tempo high. You see Ulay on the back, chasing back into the group, as Miller and Carolus set tempo on the front for that Rose Beast Mode team. They also have Dorr, Friebel, and Marb in this one today, a squad of all Germans on the Beast Mode presented by Rose Squad. It looks like this group going to be happy to ride together here. Pretty similar to what's happening up at the front of the race. You see this a lot in RGT, where these riders will just kind of lock in together, find a group to ride with. Getting a look at Kim Miller from Germany.
She prefers a nice dark room for her efforts. Yeah. Got her
5:30, 5:30 p.m. in Germany right now. So I don't think the sun has set yet. Maybe. Or maybe she's not in Germany. A German registered rider, we should say. Maybe at a friend's house in Switzerland or something.
Excuse me, guys. I have to excuse myself from the dinner table to do an effort.
There's better Wi-Fi in Austria. That's little separation happening at the front. Rokkanen going on the attack. Miller responding here. You can see the effort that she's putting in. I like being able to see Miller's screen. She uses the third-person overhead view. I think they call that the drone follow view. It just kind of stays focused above and behind the rider.
It feels like you could probably also see that if there's a gap and how big that gap is, and maybe monitor that effort a little bit more efficient instead of being, right behind that rider, and you kind of can't really gauge that in the RGT platform. So yeah, this overhead's probably a little bit more of an efficient view.
Riders have a choice of a few different cameras, but I think the one that Miller's using right now is one of the more popular views. It's either that or the first-person view, where it's just it's basically what you would see if you were a rider. There you go. There's the view. Using our patented CSI technology to zoom and enhance and zoom.
We got to know. Inquiring minds need to know, Brad.
That's right. We did some forensic investigating on Kevin Bouchard Hall's sandbags yesterday. We investigated some home decor from Mobs. We're getting to the bottom of the important issues here in the Echelon Racing League.
Brad, I wonder if Mobs will take a break here and kind of just try and roll it, to the last 10K and then try and start those attacks again. That was quite those really take an effort to do those attacks, and it's kind of hard to recover from. Or does she try and go again at like 15K, and then if it doesn't work again, then you settle in for like the last 5K? So a couple of different ways to play those attacks, but I imagine we haven't seen the last of those.
I would say just keep hitting Godby. Just keep going at it. Try and crack the queen here. Surely she can't be perfect every day, right?
Right? You would think she would crack at some point.
Yeah. Not just like boxing. You got to put those little body jabs in, right? Just soften them up. Eventually, you're going to land that one. The problem is Godby is the Tyson, Holyfield, and whatever other boxer all rolled into one.
Yeah, she is kind of the greatest of all time. And I like how she does her homework on the courses. I'll be honest, I've never done any research on Crybaby Hill, so it's nice of her to, again, that's that PhD in her, isn't it? Just to kind of, it's in her DNA. She wants to do some research, figure out the course, and she's a really smart, gifted athlete.
Well, we talked about her prep. It goes beyond just being good at racing. I mean, she's good at the whole process, right? So many riders deal with mechanicals and technicals and dropouts and nutrition. They don't have a bottle. They run out of food. That's never happened to Jackie Godby. So that's not by chance. She hasn't just gotten lucky for 2.5 years at this point. She is, she puts in the work to make sure that she has the best chance for success.
Yeah, setting those objectives and then checking the boxes. Yeah, she's definitely got her list and has just dominated the Echelon Racing League.
Do you have any pre-race prep stuff during your career? Like, what was your pre-race routine? Was it a breakfast? Was it a warm-up? Anything like that?
I was the music person, so yeah. I would always bring the little speaker, and I always just wanted to try and keep everybody calm and happy and having a good time pre-race, because look, we're all super type A individuals. We want to do well, we want to win, we're professionals, we have the pressure, so I would always just try and alleviate that pressure for everybody and try and crack some jokes. And there are a couple of videos out there, and I don't think I was always the videographer, but I've got some of my friends dancing. So we just, hey man, you gotta have fun. Like, at the end of the day, it has to be fun.
I'm gonna zoom you into Mobs and Godby here. Looks like they could use a little fun right now.
I would think there has to be some music going. I mean, Mobs has her earbuds in. So, come on, you gotta, as much as she's been attacking some sort of Rage Against the Machine early, I don't know, some techno.
Yeah. One of the cool advantages, I guess, of racing virtually, you don't get to listen to music in the real life world. Both back out of the saddle. Mobs is definitely the aggressor here. I think Godby's going over the top of this move now, but it seems like Mobs is taking it to Godby, and then Godby kind of responds to that aggression. There's Mobs again over the top.
Yeah, agreed. We're at 15K now. Is she, like I said, is she going to try and attack for the next 5K and see if she can't get a separation, create separation, or just put the sting into Godby's legs and maybe hope for a sprint finish? And she was so close yesterday, so you got to think she can she can see that that podium spot is there. She's just so close, and how to get there, you know.
Both riders even matching when they hydrate and wipe the sweat away. And then back into the endurance or tempo power zone. Back to the race for third, well, race for fourth with Erin Ayala sitting in third. These riders about 320 meters back from Ayala, so she's got a nice comfortable gap back to the race for fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. But if these riders cooperate and work together, they may be able to get up there to Ayala. If they can get a little train going, that might be enough to close down 350 meters over 15K. That should work on paper, but easier said than done, obviously.
Yeah, again, we haven't really seen that in RGT, have we? We've been able to slowly whittle stuff back together, but Ayala definitely has to stay focused forward and conserve that spot. And because if these riders back here did get together and organize a bit and kind of put in some effort, they could definitely bring it back. 15K, that's plenty of time.
They're probably going to need to up the wattage a little bit. Ayala averaging somewhere between like 3.5 and 4. She's keeping it in the mid to high threes for the most part, talking about her watts per kilogram. They're doing sort of low to mid threes back in the chase group. So as a group, I think they're all going to need to kind of generally lift their power output to bring Ayala back, although looks like they are starting to tack it back a little bit. Still at 320 meters back to Miller. So Ayala's doing a nice job. This is really hard to do by yourself. Again, drafting is a huge part of RGT, and Ayala has none of that right now. Those 5-6 riders behind her racing for fourth, they can all draft off each other and save that 20-30% of energy, whatever it is, by sitting behind a rider in front of them. Ayala's doing that extra 20-30% all day today.
Yeah, she is, but she's also controlling the effort and just kind of going her pace. Like, you can settle in. She was a triathlete, so this is a comfortable space that she is very aware of and knows really well. So, I think this is a good spot for her.
And she's only 530 meters off the leaders. So all things considered, really not that far back after 20K of racing. The fact that she's only 500 meters off that lead group speaks to the stick-to-itiveness of Erin Ayala here. Mob's back to drafting off Godby here, sitting on. It's one of the most classic situations in bike racing, isn't it? 2 riders in a breakaway. How do they play it out? And that's the best part about this sport. There are a million different ways that this can go down, and Mobs and Godby are going to try all of them over the next, couple weeks of racing. We saw Mobs doing the early attacking earlier today. Seems like that has calmed down a little bit, but this is it's just such a classic situation. How do you figure out how these 2 riders are going to play it out with 12.4K to go?
Yeah, that's the beauty of like a chess match, and that's how we also always, or not always, but often describe bike racing as a chess match. Is you're never quite sure where that piece is going to go and why it's going to go there until you're kind of on the back end and somebody's got you under checkmate. So it's the beauty of the sport, is never knowing what's going to play out on the road.
Little lower wattage here for Godby and Mobs. And again, you can see the power zone change below their name. And just as I say that, Godby goes back on the attack into the red zone here. So right here is where they're hitting it. It's just before they get to the line. We'll call it maybe the last 200 meters, 300 meters. I wonder if Godby is maybe testing this now, trying to figure out that approach for what may be an inevitable sprint coming to the line in 11K from now.
Yeah, especially with that last left-hand turn right there. That's going to play into the sprint for sure of knowing when to come out of that corner and get back on the gas.
Although they might not have anything left to sprint after the battle that these two have been doing today.
I don't know. I think Mobs has it, definitely has it in her legs because she's been the instigator all morning, so she's obviously feeling good.
Or at least was feeling good when the race started.
Yeah.
She might have a different feeling here at 23 kilometers in after battling with Jackie Godby for the better part of the last half hour.
Yeah, but that's the game you got to play. That's the race you got to do because you never know. I mean, if you're not feeling good, that probably means that Godby isn't either. So, you know, who has the tenacity to just – and obviously I think Moms does because she's the aggressor. So, you know, when you're the receiving end of someone attacking, it's like this mental blow every time of like, oh my God, there they go again. So, you know, this is Mobs taking the race to Godby. It's really good to see. And I know Godby really appreciates it too, but at the same time, there has to be a little bit of crack in Godby somewhere that's thinking that, oh man, this is hurting really bad.
Well, Mob's certainly making her mark on the Echelon Racing League. Coming on strong to challenge Jackie Godby here into week 4. And a couple perfect courses for Mobs as well. Just the right courses to beat Jackie Godby on. There are some courses that you don't want to challenge Godby on. Like I would never take her to Tour the Gila and try and beat her on the Gila Monster or Mogollon Climb, something like that. She's going to beat you every single time. Not even 99 times out of 100. She'll beat you every time. But if you can get her in a sprint, you can get on one of these rolling courses, one of these power climbs where you can sort of jump over the climbs, Jackie Godby can be beat.
You're right, Brad. I mean, so yeah, why not today? Every race you toe the line, you got to think maybe today's your day. And Brad, just so you know, I've sent you 2 dance videos. So be on the lookout.
All right, we will do our best to get these in full 4K. Get those on the broadcast. I'm wondering if Mobs has 1 or maybe 2 more attacks in her before you get to the finish. Unfortunately, I think if you just wait around now for the sprint, you've wasted all that early wattage. You've wasted that early energy of making Jackie Godby attack, putting her on the back foot, because at this point, Godby is recovered. Like, she's fine now. She is no longer on the ropes. If she was feeling that pressure earlier, she has now had the time to kind of settle back down, recover. They're back into the green and blue zone right now. Jackie Godby's super strong mentally as well, so she can calm down after those attacks. Mobs needs to just keep hitting her. Don't give her time to recover.
Yeah, but again, I think of like that last, so 15K to 10K, Mobs was kind of hitting it. Now 10K to 5K, maybe take a rest, and then 5K to the finish, try and hit again. Like, just, you know, kind of throwing everything you got at her.
Now back into the red zone and back out of the saddle. Same section of the course again. It's right here where they're coming through the line. Seems to be where they both sort of accelerate into the red zone. All right, so as they continue their gap here, they are coming up on about 10K to go to the line here. We're going to take a quick break here from our pro women's race, and we'll be back with our finish from the Echelon Racing League. Welcome back. Ray Mobbs and Jackie Godby going head-to-head on the front of this one with 7K to go as Godby has gone on the attack now, put a little gap in between herself and Mobbs. Mobbs chases back. And does she counter or does she hang on here?
For a second there, I thought she was countering, but maybe she's just hanging on.
Well, certainly good to see them back into the red zone here at 7K to go. I was worried that this would just turn into a two-up sprint, that they would just ride together in the breakaway and then sprint it out in the last lap. That has not happened today. This has been non-stop action for these two in the group, hitting left and right, blow by blow. These two have been putting on a great show today.
You know, I think they wanted to do Crybaby Hill again today, so they just keep going back and forth with these attacks. It's so good.
Only 6.4K of racing to go here. Should be 3 laps, I think. Back to Ayala in third, still holding on to that solo third position, about the same distance up to first and second as it is back to fourth and fifth. So I think Ayala should be good. The fact that Ayala held on to what is now going to be a 700-meter gap by herself with Mobbs and Godby attacking each other on the front, hugely impressive.
It is, but again, you kind of go back to that efficiency model of when Mobbs and Godby start attacking each other like that. Yeah, they go super hard, super fast for a short amount of period, but then they recover, so they let off the gas. Whereas Ayala is just going to keep that steady pace and just try and keep that gap, that time, that triathlon time trial effort. So that's where she can just manage that gap as best she can. But yeah, you know, you keep seeing Godby and Mobbs kind of go 1-2 like that. You know, they go up the road and then they kind of come back. So yeah, it's a good day for her.
Looking at the race for fourth place on down now, Carolus leading the way. We saw Kimberly Miller attacking earlier. Anna Rokinen has been strong on the front as well. But this group down to 4 riders. They dropped Ulay, O'Toole, Dorer, and Corrent. This was a group of 8 earlier, but now down to 4 with 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th in this group. A little further back, looks like O'Toole in a group with Corrent, Nelson. They're all going to be riding together. That's this group right here. So this will become a group of 5, including British rider Emma O'Toole up into 9th position. And then behind this group, looks like next rider is going to be Janssen at 13th position. That'll be about 600 meters back, but I think this is basically we'll call it the 4th group on the road. We'll give Erin Ayala her own group. So got your 2 leaders, Ayala, and then the race for 3rd, or race for 4th, sorry, and then this will be the race for 8th on down. A little further back to Victoria Jansen in the 13 spot, also all by herself. Looks like she came off of that group with Corrent and Nelson up the road. All right, back up front, Godby and Mobbs back into the red zones, back through the line here, 4.6K to go.
Man, I think they just stay in the red, don't they? Well, that's all we've seen. Every time we come back to them, these two are just in the red zone.
Well, they've been keeping each other on their toes all day. This has been a pleasure to watch. Coming up on 4.4K of racing to go. They've knocked out 30K already.
You know, it's what I like to see is that each one of these riders are lifting the other up, and it just raises the game for both of them. So these attacks, you know, no matter who gets first and who gets second, like it definitely helps both of them to raise their trainer game, essentially their racing game.
And now Mobbs going to take over on the front. Again, you see at the bottom of the screen just the two little blue sections on the course profile. They're not super steep sections, but it seems like coming off of that is where Gabi and Mobs are making the move. So,
and also what I find interesting is the power history up in the top left-hand corner. That consistent line. It looks like a heart rate beat. It just keeps going up and down and up and down, just attack after attack. They're not sitting in at all, like we've talked about. These two are just going head to head.
And now it looks like they're just going to lock into the waiting game here. I don't know that there's much time left for any separation, any late race attack here. So I think that window is passed, and these two are looking at a 2-up sprint to the line.
Yeah, hopefully in all the attacking that Mobs has done, that she's also, what it looked like that Godby was doing is kind of attacking through that last corner to see how the game will play out and when to get back on the gas for the final sprint. So hopefully Mobs has done that same thing in all of this attacking and not just been solely focused on trying to get a separation from Godby. Ooh. And again, kind of, Brad, going back to what we normally see Godby sitting most of the race. We've seen her standing a ton today. And Mobs just kind of matching attack for attack right now.
Mobs back into the red zone. Lets off around the corner perfectly.
Ooh. Hold the wheel, Mobs.
Now is where, yep. Just got to stay right in that draft. And again, the riders have a drafting indicator on their screen as well that I'm sure Mobs will be watching. Back under the line, Godby in the red zone. She's doing more work than Mobs here. Mobs is definitely taking the second position in this scenario. I think she's more than happy to let Godby go into the red zone alone. As long as she can stay with her. No mechanicals, technicals, anything like that. I wish we had neutral support in the virtual world. We talked about Rhea Mobs had a dropout earlier. Like at the Intelligentsia Cup, we have Shimano neutral support, right? If you have a flat tire, broken chain, something like that, Shimano gets you fixed up, gets you back in the race immediately. We need like an IT crew from Shimano to show up to your house and help you, fix your Wi-Fi or whatever it is in virtual racing.
Yeah. Or just give a free lap in the crit racing at least. That would be nice. But hey, we've, knock on wood, Mobs hasn't had any mechanicals today. All right, Brad, last 2K here. I would almost expect Mobs to start hitting it again. You gotta. I feel like she's got to kind of take it to Godby and kind of throw everything at her, knowing that finish and that Mobs was so close yesterday.
Yeah, you don't have much time here to get things right. Final 2K today presented by Shimano. For over 100 years, Shimano has established itself as the world's leading manufacturer of bike components. Shimano is famous for its systems engineering. It means that all components are developed in such a way that they function perfectly together and with the human body. The result is improved control, a faster response, more efficient use of rider energy, and general feeling of precision and harmony. You feel the difference when you ride a bike with Shimano components. Again, Shimano presenting our final 2K, now our final kilometer of racing under the red flag.
Brad, do you think Mobs can do it today?
I certainly think she's got the setup. She's got the opportunity. Whether or not she can pull it off, I'll get back to you in 800 meters from now. down to 500. Still matched. Pedal stroke for pedal stroke. Godby going to be first to go. Mobs responds under 500. Now Mobs will go over the top. Godby responds. Mobs was just waiting. She knew she had gone too early. Lets off the gas at 300 meters.
Another hit.
Out of the final corner. Yep. Godby goes again. Mobs still responding. They're going to go right through this group. Mobs redoubles her effort at 130 meters. She might have gotten it right. Did Mobs finally time it right in the Echelon Racing League? Here comes Godby. A photo finish, but Mobs held on. Rhea Mobs unseats the champion of the Echelon Racing League, and we got a new winner from the faster cyclist team. Rhea Mobs is your winner here at the Tour of Lake Ellen.
Holy cow, it took that one hit right before that turn, and I thought that Mobs had just gone a little bit too early, and then she hit it again, and last 200, 300 meters, and Godby just couldn't close it. Man, finally, we've got a new winner.
Meanwhile, Erin Ayala going to roll in for third. Another consistent ride for her. Again, impressive ride, holding on to that gap all by herself. No one to draft off of. Another successful day in the saddle for Erin Ayala.
Wow.
But what a battle between Godby and Mobs. You see them in our Science in Sport, SIS Zoom room. They are spent. They're going to need some recovery products after this one, Lauren.
No doubt. Wow. What a finish. What good job. Hats off to Mobs.
Of course, Mob's going to have our Bora Winners jersey headed her way. Nothing better than new kit day. Bora Teamwear makes it easy to order beautiful USA-made custom cycling apparel for your team. Customer service is the best in the biz, and they'll walk you through the entire process from free design to their unique fit guarantee. Ensure you get amazing kits on time. Bora is the official teamwear of the Intelligentsia Cup, and our winner, Rhea Mobs, will be getting a Bora Teamwear winner's jersey. Here's the sprint for fourth place. Back behind them, looks like Miller going to lead it out early here. Remember, we saw Rokkanen doing some early work out of this group, and then Carolus falling off the back a little bit as they go inside 600 meters. Rokkanen into the final corners here, as they have now dropped Dorr out of the group. Here comes a surge from Baker. Now that's an effort right there. Baker lit it up.
Dude, the corners, 200 meters from the finish. So yeah, they should have known that corner and had to time it with the game.
Huge effort for Baker, as looks like she'll lock up fourth place on the day. But all about Rhea Mobs at the front of the race, our women's winner here in the Echelon Racing League. Let's go to our Science in Sport interview room with our winner.
From the UK, with her first race in Echelon Racing League, Rhea, how does this feel?
It feels great after yesterday being so close and then just trying to work it out today to get the win.
What was the biggest difference between yesterday's course and today's course?
I think today was like a lot easier in the sense of as got to be attacked, you can so easily sit on the wheel and just keep there until the end, knowing that I'd be stronger at the end than trying to break away.
Yeah. Do you value yourself as a rider that is a climber or a sprinter?
100%, yeah, sprinter. As obviously in the tour, the hills for me were just awful, and I'd obviously end up third, which obviously was great. But yeah, it's definitely these flat, punchy courses that suit me. That's why I left it down to the sprint.
Does riding on virtual racing change your strategy at all for the last 1K to go?
I'd say it's pretty close, but like taking like the improvements from yesterday and making sure that I left it a little bit later, knowing that Godby was a little bit stronger in the long run. So I had to just be punchier in the last K, which worked well.
Awesome. Congratulations to you, Ray, and we'll see you next weekend. Brad, back to you.
Bye.
Huge win for Mobs and a big upset. Winners interview presented by SIS. Fuel your indoor and outdoor training with science in sport with products to aid hydration, energy, recovery, protein, and more. No matter what your goal is, push your performance with SIS. Mobs must have had her SIS today because she was fueled up to beat Jackie Godby to the line with a 4.48 average watt per kilo, beating Godby to the line by 7/100ths of a second. Really did come down to a photo finish.
You know, again, listening to Mobs, and she learned from yesterday. She learned how to go, when to go, and know to keep it a little bit later. She was so close yesterday. So, yeah, what a great win for Mobs today.
And then Aaron Ayala into third with a 3.66 average watts per kilo. Dylan Baker takes fourth place, currently sitting, third overall for the Project Echelon racing team. Kim Miller ends up fifth, Anna Rokkanen in sixth, and then goes down to Sarah Carolus in seventh. Emma O'Toole pulls out an eighth place finish, and then Boulay into ninth, and Marie Dorr in 10th for the Beast Mode presented by Rose Team. So 52 minutes, the winning time for Rhea Mobs in our elite women's race, getting ready for our elite men coming up here in just a bit. Lauren, any thoughts watching the way that women's race played out? I mean, are things going to change for this men's race coming up?
I think it's going to be a lot of the same of just those 1-2 hits with Jordan Yeager. Just like we saw yesterday, it's just going to be a little bit less intense at the very beginning of the race, and hopefully those guys can stick together. There's going to be breakaways. It's going to be attacks. It's going to be great racing. I can't wait.
All right, well, they are just about to roll off the line here very shortly. Our pro men warming up in our SIS warm-up Zoom room here as well. So we're going to take a quick break here from the Echelon Racing League as we wrap up our pro women's coverage. And when we come back, we'll be live with your pro men from the ERL.
Come on, move. Of course, there aren't any spots.
I am.
A few minutes won't hurt anybody. Thanks, Grandma.
Paralyzed Veterans of America works tirelessly every day to create a more accessible America. Let's leave the accessible spaces to the people who actually need them. Whatever the reason, excuses don't excuse. Join PVA and be part of the solution. Honor the spot.
Welcome back, Pro Men on Course here in the virtual tour of Lake Allen. Looking at yesterday's winner, Jaden Yeager, on the front for the Restart Racing team. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, here on day 2 of week 4 of the Echelon Racing League. Yeager hot this weekend. He's obviously feeling it after a win yesterday. Yeah,
and this is a course that will suit him again today. Yesterday, I think, was kind of a harder course for him. Just with Crybaby Hill over and over. So, yeah, this could be another good day for Jaden for sure.
Well, we talked about Jaden Yeager's result yesterday at the virtual Tulsa Tough. We saw how that one played out with the virtual Crybaby Hill in it, but this one a little different, Lauren. It's not as steep on the climb. The finishing kick is not as big, so Jaden Yeager may have a different race to deal with out there today. He was able to attack from 2K out yesterday. A long bomb from Yeager, but it paid off.
Yeah, and they created the breakaway. They had 2 guys up the road. Had Kevin Bouchard Hall kind of sit in the pocket. Kevin, hit the group a couple of times, but then Jaden just timed it perfectly and then held off for like a kilometer almost, just the entire lap.
Yeah, it was a really impressive solo effort. Yeager ends up winning today by almost 100 meters on the line. A huge victory for Jaden Yeager. Not just winning a day in the Echelon Racing League, but I mean, he dominated. He really put his mark on Tulsa Tough on Crybaby Hill. So can't wait to see him take that one on in person. A rare fist pump from Jaden Yeager. That's about as excited as we see that guy get. But he was happy with the result, and he should be. So he'll be back for more today with his Restart Racing team. Also going to be looking at some of these other names on the list. Emmerich had a good result yesterday, super aggressive on the front. We always talk about Matt Usborne, a perennial favorite. Ben Thomas up there as well in Jaden Yeager's group that he left at 2K to go. And then Zach Nair and Mason Roca in there as well. So they may be some to watch. And, of course, Kevin Bouchard Hall. You can never count out KBH, the Restart Racing rider. I hope he has more Intelligentsia coffee today. That was the key yesterday. We saw him pouring his Intelligentsia mid-race. I've got mine. I hope you've got yours. I know you were caffeinated throughout the morning, but I've been drinking on the special Intelligentsia Podium Blend, which they make for the Intelligentsia Cup every year. By far, one of the best parts of racing the Intelligentsia Cup is the coffee on the podium. Our podium finishers get coffee. So some riders leave with like a lot of coffee. KBH is back with the coffee mug today. See it, and then he keeps the carafe or the pitcher below. He's got a separate shelf below where he has his backup Intelligentsia coffee.
Yeah, Brad. Coffee and cycling just go hand in hand. Like either we need it to get rolling, or we usually like to do it just to have a good coffee stop on a easy ride. So it's where you see all the cyclists is at the coffee shop.
Got to have a good mug to be efficient. That's the most important thing. I have my Intelligentsia coffee cup mug today. I would like to give a special shout out to whoever was second place in the Omnium in 2017 and didn't pick up their podium prize, because I've been enjoying it for the last few years. So whoever was second place Omnium, thank you. I appreciate you not making it to the last podium. The coffee's delicious.
You should just go and just come up with a story and be like, you were such a good racer back in the day. That's your mug. You won that outright.
Just wanted to remember. Yeah, exactly. No, my only victory to the day remains the Maui stage race, and I think my career will end that way as well. So there you go. Finishing off the coffee for KBH.
Now I just wonder if it's a good prop for us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, it's working. Staying with the group, keeping it tough. This one playing out much differently than our women's race. This is still a huge group remaining here in the race. Really, no major separation aside from the patented Matt Usborne attack to try to split things up here. But that'll come back. Usborne with the Above Beyond Cancer team, trying to make things interesting.
And talking about the differences from today and yesterday, I was actually talking to the Project Echelon guys and just kind of confirming what we thought and what we see and that how hard that race was. And the guys said that their normalized power for the first 15 minutes was at least 450 watts. And one of those riders got dropped. So, that just shows you like that was such a hard race yesterday. And that, that's going to leave a little bit of sting in the legs today. And whoever had enough recovery and cool down from yesterday, it'll show today. And the fact that this course is a little bit more rolling will help all of them kind to ride into this race and warm up a bit more of that central nervous system before they all start going crazy.
Good look at our SIS Zoom room. Somebody got the outside set up. I thought at first it was a green screen in the center of the SIS Zoom room here. That is an authentic backdrop. Whatever rider it is, they are in the mountains, or at least at the base of the mountains. Pretty cool. That's Timmy Bauer.
Wow. That's a strong flex.
So I think Timmy Bauer is
impressive.
NorCal based. I'm not sure where he would be training from, but that is quite the setup.
That's spectacular.
And I also want to point out Lions of St. Louis. We'll talk about them in a bit. Here's Timmy Bauer. He's still got the fan, even outside. I love that about it. I got to say, this is probably the most unique setup we've had of the Echelon Racing League so far. We've seen not the first rider to race outside. We've seen a lot of riders racing in their garage, some riders in the backyard, trying to get cooler temperatures outside, but no one's had this view, that's for sure.
He's got gloves on. He's got something on his head. I can't tell if that's like a headband but like you said, like the fan's going. So there's snow on the mountain, so it's not hot there. Optimal temperature, like we were told a couple weeks ago, 50 degrees. So what better view could you have than that with his sawhorse? Do a little construction afterwards.
Well, it almost looks as good as virtual Glen Ellen looks in real life. And look at that, Timmy Bauer gets up to the front. Little TV watts for us. Looks like Cosella going to take a look. Dowd there as well. Look how big this group is. They've already covered 14 kilometers of racing and a relatively large group hanging in here. Much different than when we watched Godby and Mobbs blow up the women's race early on.
I was thinking about yesterday's men's race and how Emerlin kind of hit that group a couple of times. And I wonder if Mobbs kind of took a page from his book of, why not? Why not try and soften up the group? And, it's going to hurt yourself, but I'd rather take the race in my own hands and take it to my competitors than kind of be on the receiving end of that. So, this is a different race, but, Mobbs made the most of it. And, maybe Emerlin can come back again today and see what he's got.
There are a lot of riders in this group that probably haven't seen the front group 15K in a long time. It's probably been a few races before a lot of these riders have been with the front group. Not sure what the change is today. It must be something with the course that's keeping this group together. Maybe just that much more difficult, or maybe it was Crybaby Hill yesterday that's keeping this sting in the legs here.
Yeah, no doubt it was Crybaby Hill that just destroyed the group yesterday.
There's Usborne back on the front. Payne Griffin going to join him. Usborne, another outdoor rider. He usually has his setup. Yeah, he's on the balcony I think in Vancouver.
I have a telltale sign that he's going to do well today. He's got the pit vipers on his head.
They made an appearance yesterday, but it wasn't until after the race. So maybe the key is having them with you the entire time. Everyone's got their, their little secret, I guess. For some, it's a little mid-race Intelligentsia coffee. For some, it's a half dozen SIS gels in the last 5K. And for some, it's some Pit Viper sunglasses.
going back to coffee, and again, kind of making that connection with Marco, having Intelligentsia Cup, and then also being down in Tucson and Tucson Bicycle Classic. One of the best coffee shops in Tucson is Presta Coffee Roasters. Curtis Zimmerman owns that company, and he's a supporter of cycling and a big fan of cycling. He's got bikes in his shop. And I'm pretty sure those are Gord Fraser's bikes that he highlights, which is a pretty cool connection back to the world of cycling. So Curtis is a dear friend and always has supported cycling and been a fan of cycling. So yeah, like that coffee connection is through and through. It seems like every cycling community, no matter where in the world you are.
Yeah, nothing goes together quite like coffee and cycling. Kevin Bouchard Hall up to the front.
Could he be setting up Jordan Yeager? I love these guys set up too. Like Misery loves company for sure. So I think these guys are great.
Yeah, looking at St. Louis Alliance here. These guys, we saw their training gym earlier in the Echelon Racing League. But such a cool program for the Alliance. These are riders all from St. Louis that sort of get together when they race at out-of-state races like the Intelligentsia Cup. Saw them with their compound every day at Intelligentsia this year. They will normally race on different teams when they're racing local races in St. Louis, and then when they travel out of state, they all sort of work together.
That's a lot of electricity and bandwidth happening right there.
Yeah, that's for sure. This gym, wherever they are, must have an incredible internet plan.
That and maybe we can be sponsored by an extension cord company.
A lot of power in virtual racing, both the power meter type and the power to keep everything running. I'm amazed that this group is still together on the bottom right of our screen. I cannot believe that no one has caused a split off the front of this group yet. Maybe it's because the St. Louis Alliance guys showed up and started keeping everyone together. That's the wild card factor today.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I don't think it's from the lack of trying. I mean, we've seen a couple of guys trying to go off the front, and then while we've just been live with the St. Louis Alliance, these guys are giving her. I mean, the bikes are rocking back and forth. They're standing up. Thanks for the wave. Yeah, it hasn't been an easy race, that's for sure.
And we actually have two views from inside the St. Louis Alliance view. There you go. This is by far, yeah, aside from Timmy Bauer's outdoor setup, I think this is the most technically advanced setup that we've seen yet. Oh, they got the St. Louis flag going. I love it. I love it. This reminds me of like the old days of computer gaming when you had to, be in the same room. They called them LAN parties, where you had to show up with your friends and actually, physically connect your computers together before we had the internet. If you wanted to play a game together, you had to be in the same room and connect your computers together. So the gaming nerds would get together in a setup very similar to this, and they all had to hook their computers together. So what's old is new again. The LAN party is alive and well.
I learned something new every day, Brad. I had no idea what that was.
That is a total nerd thing. That is, yeah, I don't don't you to know anything about LAN parties.
Look, I'm before you. It was like Dungeons and Dragons in our years, so I have no room to talk.
Right on, watching some of the Alliance St. Louis riders. I guess the other advantage here is obviously the communication. Certainly easier to try and get a plan together with these guys when they're all there in person. I want to know how this one guy got access to the fan. Like, do they take turns with the fan? Only one of them on the left side of the screen here has the tabletop fan facing him.
Maybe
how do you decide who gets
the day?
Yeah, yeah, or it's the guy in the front, right? He's doing the most work, so he gets the wind in his face. If anyone else wants to get up to the front, they're more than happy to do that too.
You can see in the background one of those industrial size fans. Those are always a good pusher of wind, like you'd see in a gymnasium, since that is a gymnasium. Workout gym facility.
Yeah, workout facility. I like that. Well, right now it's an esports arena. That's what we're calling it right now. Maybe St. Louis's largest esports arena. I'm not sure if they built a permanent esports arena in St. Louis or not. We'll check it out when we go back for Gateway Cup this year. Mike Lister up on the front. Tom Gakes taking a look as well. Dutch Riders, Brad Bickley, your series leader, up at the front now for the Above and Beyond Cancer team. And coming up on 13K of racing to go. These guys don't have much time left to get a sprint. I have never seen a sprint this big in an Echelon Racing League event, so this may be a first for us today, seeing a true bunch sprint to the line.
You know, as a rider, I look at this group and effort and size like you're talking about, and I think, oh my gosh, the tornado is about to come. This is going to hurt so bad in another 3 or 4K. Because I think just attacks are just going to start going ones and twos and just taking it to each other as hard as they can. This is going to be intense.
All right, well, with these guys working out at the front of our pro men's race, let's go check in with our para and hand cycling competition happening concurrently with our pro men this weekend. As we take a look at Sander Koeman back on the front, our winner yesterday in the hand cycle race. Looks like Koeman back up there today and has dropped Drosky, an H4 rider who is with him. Koeman riding in the H3 category, so should be the front, and looks like just one other H3 rider up there. That's going to be Bryant into third overall and sitting second in the H3 category. Koeman has been great to watch, super consistent, out here every week, and I think he might be undefeated in the hand cycling races here in the Echelon Racing League. Also watched Joe Bernier yesterday winning his paracycling race. He is up against Paul Kilgore out there right now as they look at 7K of racing to go. So Bernier trying to get up onto the wheel of Kilgore here. We'll see if those two can link up. The para and hand cycling races run together.
Can you tell when Bernier knows that we are talking about him? I think he just gave the camera the wave. Yep. He's such a great guy. It's so nice to see that he's such a interacting and fan pleaser.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to have at the races, that's for sure, and obviously a talented athlete as well. I've not had the pleasure to meet Mr. Kilgore in person, which I would love to do. Paul's also been a consistent rider here in the Echelon Racing League for the PVA squad, the Paralyzed Veterans of America team. An organization was a big part of helping bring para and hand cycling avatars into RGT onto the platform. So big thanks to PVA for their support of Echelon Racing League and obviously everything that they do for our veterans.
Seems like Bernier was waiting on some TV time because he just took over Kilgore, but Kilgore is coming right back.
I think they had an agreement. I think they were just trying to make it look interesting. Get on TV and then start attacking here. So Bernier going to link up with Kilgore here. Both riders into the red zone, keeping it interesting. Now, these are different categories of riders, so technically they'll be scored separately, but these two very clearly racing against each other right now, and I'm here for it.
Raise the level up by being with someone else. It helps a ton.
Looks like Kilgore keeping an eye on Joe here. Again, that's part of racing, playing the game, the video game element of RGT. So about 5K to go here for these two. We'll keep an eye as Joe Bernier goes on the attack. Kuman continuing at the front of the hand cycle competition. See a little move from Chris Naven moving up the right side here in our elite men's race. Naven from the Triple X racing team, the squad of Jackie Godby, a local Chicago squad. Got to give them a shout out for their home race here in the Intelligentsia Cup. We'll have to find some Tucson teams in there as well. We were talking about the Tucson Bicycle Classic. They'll also be promoting coming up here March 4th through 6th. If you're looking to escape the cold or just want an opportunity to race this spring, the 34th annual Tucson Bicycle Classic will be back in 2022. We're running a 3-day stage race March 4th through 6th with a time trial, a road race, and then a fast and fun circuit course, and maybe the most exciting thing, equal distances for our pro women and pro men.
It's a really great race, and it's funny. It's like you're talking about Tucson teams. I feel like there's not any Tucson teams, but
yeah,
there are a couple. There's I can't think of them right now, but it just feels like that's where everybody goes to winter. So you have all your pro teams down there finding their second homes, and down there in Phoenix, and before you head off to Redlands, and then Joe Martin, and then Tour the Gila. So it's such a beautiful way to start the year. There's so much tradition down in Tucson. They have the infamous shootout on Saturday mornings that is essentially like a race. It's a lot of fun. It's such a great community down there. Every Saturday there's at least 3 different group rides going off all across town. You pick your poison if you want something easier or harder or a different time of day. Like it's obviously I have quite the affinity for it. I spent most of my career in the wintertime down there, so it's my second home. I absolutely love it.
Tucson is also the nearest airport for Tour the Gila for a lot of people going down there, so it has spent some bonus time in Tucson.
Exactly.
So here's the split
there you go.
that we were waiting on all day. It took a little while before it finally happened. But Usborn, Thomas, Neuhaus, David, Betts, and Blodgett looks like have gone. I think Blodgett going to be the last guy to tack on there. That's the Restart Racing rider just coming into the back of the group in the light green jersey there. He talked about Usborn trying to set up the attack for his teammates. Remember, he's still got Timmy Bauer, Brad Bickley, your series leader. Morris is back there. Travis Samuel, super strong on the trainer. Grant Simons. So this is not the only card that Above Beyond Cancer has to play here with Matt Usborn, but they don't have a lot of time left to play the cards is the problem at 8K to go here. So this might be the move. Even if Usborn was trying to draw other riders out, sometimes that plan changes when it's like, all right, this is no longer a chase. This is the winning move.
Right, and then you got 2 beast modes up there, 3 beast modes up there, so, they're going to probably say, hey, yeah, let's roll this, let's go, and yeah, sure enough, David's on the attack right now and going to try and keep that separation. That's good numbers for them.
Yeah, and Neuhaus all in this group, so 3 beast mode riders, if they have the time to get organized. It's such a chaotic course, too, with all these turns and bends and ups and downs. It's tough to get a group together. Field is tacking it back. Oliver Dowd back there leading the chase, bringing his power up into the red zone. So that's going to bring this gap down at coming up on 7K of racing to go. Restart has Blodgett, Bouchard, Hall, Dowd, we just talked about, Jaden Yeager, yesterday's winner, and then Sarnecki and Swart as well. So that's another powerhouse team that has multiple riders that can attack out of this group. So even though Usborn coming back right now, watch for a counterattack from a team like Above and Beyond Cancer, Restart Racing, Beast Mode, the teams with big numbers that can afford to maybe launch another rider. So this is where it would happen. Watch for the counterattack. Here goes Ben Thomas, Team Tour 2000. Their team graphic right on cue here, as he'll be working with Charlie Revel, Alex Pleger, Mike Lister, Andy Davenport, and Charlie Beek.
I like that you listed off about 5 teams that's going to counterattack this attack. So it's like that's the thing, is like this last 10K is just going to be a tornado of attacks just left and right, and just trying to send guys up the road and just whittle it down. This is going to be intense. It is intense.
Group coming back and growing. 13 in this front group now. Dowd made it across. It looked for a while like he was going to drag that group back up with him, but now he's gotten that separation. So Dowd is clear. Project Echelon also has Zach Nair up in this group. So it looks like Nair will be the man for Project Echelon going forward here. I think the only Project Echelon rider in the break here. It is. Restart with 4, the best setup out of any of the teams. And I think everyone else is on their own. These guys moving. Watching the speeds coming up on 50K an hour around some of these corners.
Oh, especially these last 5K now. Oh, man.
Yeah, those little hills start feeling just a little bigger. What was an easy riser to get over in the first 28K all of a sudden gets a little more difficult here.
This is like motor pacing. It's you have an attack, and then you get back in the group, and then you have an attack and get back in the group. You're rolling this big gear right now.
And this is such a big group. It's chaotic. There's really no organization up in this group, so they're going to have to figure out how they're going to play it. Talked about Zach Nair with Project Echelon earlier. Nair is also one of the director sportifs that we see working with other teams a lot from Project Echelon. A lot of these riders and teams will use Discord to communicate, to chat tactics or race situation. We do have access to the Project Echelon Discord. Let's listen in on that, see if they're giving Nair any encouragement or advice up at the front.
They're gone, I think. Come on, Zach.
Sounds like those riders back in the chase group realizing this group's not coming back.
And the best thing you can do is cheer on your teammate up the road.
That's got to be nice to get just a little bit of encouragement. So I think that was the voice of Eric Hill saying that group's gone, talking about these 13, and then saying, come on, Zach.
Yeah, you know, Eric wears so many hats now being part of the team. Like, this guy's, I don't know when he sleeps. I mean, between running logistics and racing his bike and being there for the team and kind of, you know, being the team captain, like, this guy's all over the place. It's, he's definitely got a love for the sport.
Here goes Dowd again on the front, 7.4 watts per kilo. Big effort for Oliver here at 4K to go. Talk about laying it down. Following Brad Bickley here, your current series leader in the overall of the Echelon Racing League with the Above and Beyond Cancer team. Also the team of Matt Usborne, who we saw up at the front earlier. Let's listen in on their Discord, see what they're talking about.
Stay right on his wheel. It's your sole focus.
All right, get out of your television. We got less than 4K.
Okay, that was great, guys. But there's 4 restart guys there. Someone else is going to go over the top, so just stay super alert.
I like that he talks about tunnel vision. There comes a point as a sprinter, as at the end of the race, is you kind of just everything turns off and you just go off a feel and your brain turns off, and it's called being in the flow and feeling the moment. So that's that tunnel vision.
Yeah, he said, get out of your TV. I thought that was interesting. Time to start focusing on the race, focus on the effort, right? You can't just stare into the screen anymore. You need to start thinking like a bike racer here. So Dowd opening up a little bit of space here. He still hasn't gotten away. We won't call him clear yet, but this is a huge effort. Now remember, Restart has 3 other guys, so Dowd is not the guy for Restart today. It's going to be Jaeger or Kevin Bouchard-Hall here, who's at the back of the group right now. But Dowd is the sacrificial lamb right now for Restart.
Yeah, good setup for those guys. Let somebody else chase that down.
Bouchard-Hall will just sit back and wait. I have to imagine Jaeger will do the same. Here goes Bouchard-Hall now. From 2.2K out. Remember, Jaden Jaeger successfully did it from 2K out yesterday. Bouchard-Hall going to try and go from 2.2K out, and if this doesn't work, they still have Jaden Jaeger.
I think we're just waiting to see Jaeger at this point.
A lot of separation up at the front now. We talked about the group dynamic that had held on for a long time in this one. That one has since blown up. This is turning into 1s and 2s very quickly. And look at this. Dowd's work is done. I love this. Very similar to how we see in real life. A rider does their pull and then pulls off. This is awesome.
Enjoy those last 2K. Your job's done.
All right. Got a little company on the front. Bouchard-Hall has now been joined by Usborne, Nair, and Bickley. Oh, they're all here. So now wait for the counter from Jaeger, sitting in 9th right now. At 1.4K to go. We're right in Jaden Jaeger's sweet spot. Bickley's keeping it fast on the front, though. What Bump Beyond Cancer is trying to do is keep this race so fast that Jaeger can't go over the top of it. They want to keep Jaden redlining right now so that he doesn't have any headroom to work with. They're going to put Blodgett up here as well to try and go. Bump Beyond Cancer has now lost control of the tempo as they go inside of 1K.
I think Usborne's going to have to watch Jaeger.
Neuhaus, her beast mode here. And looks like they're going to run out of time for a sprint. So this will be a sprint, or for a split, this will be a sprint out of the group. Nair looking good as well on the right side for Project Echelon. He'll be looking for a line here. Down to 650 meters. There's Jaeger and Bouchard-Hall, 2 of the big favorites coming into this one. Jaeger goes on the attack now. Here it is, the moment we were waiting for. Jaden Jaeger attacks at 600 meters to go. Mason Roca going to try and respond. Neuhaus is there as well. Jaeger going all in into the red zone. Here comes Matt Usborne, the Bump Beyond Cancer jersey, trying to respond. Jaeger into the final turn with 300 meters to go coming out of it. Times the power perfectly. Back on the gas. And Jaden Jaeger is going to go 2 for 2 in week 4 of the Echelon Racing League as he'll win the Intelligentsia Cup. And Lake Eleanor does it! Sworn by Rock at the end. I spoke too soon. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Oh. I love a good sprint finish. I thought Jaeger had it. We couldn't see behind him. And sworn by Roca in the end. Oh, man.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah, I mean, we thought that was it. I mean, Jaeger was gone, and out of nowhere, Roca comes back. And Usborne just off the back. Yeah, those guys were, were just so close. Yes. Oh, man.
And then the rest of the group finishing up here.
Holy moly.
There's your winner, Mason Roca. Man, Gotham Greens, presented by Verge Sport Rider. Coming up in the last, I'll say 10 meters to make the pass. I don't know where he actually passed Jaeger, but it couldn't have been far outside of 10 meters from the line.
Ooh, it's almost like a bike throw.
Oh, if there was ever going to be a way to beat Jane Jaeger, this is how you have to do it, right? You're not going to beat him on a long-range attack. You're not going to beat him in a final climb to the line. You really just have to wait for that chaotic final sprint to try to make it work, and sounds like that's what Roca did out there today. All right, I think we have our race winner, Mason Roca, in our SIS interview room, so let's go over to Mason.
One, go.
Thanks, Brad. I'm here in Zoom with the winner of the Intelligentsia Cup, Mason Roca. Mason, how are you feeling after that win?
Yeah, I'm a bit tired, but it feels great to be able to sneak past everyone on that one.
So how, with that last sprint, what was your strategy going into the last 1K?
Well, I had a feeling that there were going to be some attacks. It was a kind of a big group. We had like, I don't know, 10, 12 riders. And it was a responsive group. So like everyone was responding to the attacks. So sometimes I think about doing a long attack, but I was thinking that someone else was going to go, and then I wanted to follow some wheels in the end. And Kevin kind of kicked it off early. And then right before the last climb, he kind of let the group catch up, and then Jaden hit it. Jaden hit it, and I knew that was going to be a couple people jumped on his wheel, Zach and Matt, and so I just tried to stay on wheels, and I just had a little bit more gas left at the end than they did. So kind of luckily timed it well.
First win in ERL for you this season. How do you feel after notching this?
Well, I actually did get one earlier, but it feels great. I mean, yesterday was brutal. All that Crybaby Hill, just at the end of it was a completely different feeling at the end of the race. I had nothing left in the tank. So today, flatter course suits better for me. I'm a big rider, so it suited me better and had enough gas left in the tank to kind of go for it. So it felt good.
Awesome. Thank you, Mason. Congratulations on the win. Brad, Lauren, back to you.
Thank you, Emma.
Well, another upset in the Echelon Racing League here in Week 4 as Mason Roca knocks down Jaden Jaeger to third spot, and a relatively big gap, all things considered. You remember it was 7/100ths of a second between our women's first and second place, a paltry 0.2 of a second between our men's first and second place.
Oh, man, what a sprint finish. And like Roca said, like just timing it just perfectly. And then again, talking about how hard yesterday was and then how much of a rolling course today was, and that he was conserving as much energy as possible. You see the 3 watts per kilo essentially. Like, man, he saved a ton. And Usborn was so close, just right there on his wheel, but just couldn't pull it off. And then, yeah, what a long bomb from Jaeger.
An impressive effort for all 3 around. Want to thank everybody here at the Echelon Racing League and, of course, the Intelligentsia Cup for helping make our virtual race happen today. Of course, our sponsors at Intelligentsia, Shimano, Intelligentsia Coffee, Bora, SIS, and the Tucson Bicycle Classic. I know we're excited about that, and I'm looking forward to a little warm weather this March. So, Lauren, I hope to see you there in Tucson.
Oh, I will definitely be there. Don't you worry. I'm actually headed down there as soon as Cyclocross Worlds is over.
Right on. Well, before we get there, we have the Joe Martin Stage Race coming up February 4th through 6th. Speaking of Arkansas, we'll be doing the virtual version of the Joe Martin Stage Race for our next stop of the Echelon Racing League. Then it's on to the League Championships February 12th before riders head to the National Championships on February 20th. That will also be hosted on RGT, produced by the Echelon Racing League. So congratulations to our winners today. Rhea Mobbs upsets Jackie Godby in a big upset in our pro men's race as well. We'll be back for the Joe Martin Stage Race February 4th through 6th. We'll see you then, same place.